My life is tethered to a rolling stone. My dreams are anchored in the wind. I come from here, but come from there. In truth, I come from everywhere. My tongue does not have a mother. My language is an open mind. Before I learned how to walk, I already knew how to fly. Comfort for me is a constant motion. Continent to continent, ocean to ocean.
I don't feel Pakistani. I don't feel Canadian. I definitely don't feel Indonesian or Chinese or Australian. I don't feel American either.
I was born in a hotel in room, I think it was number 7.
Part of what home is also for me is traveling.
And every time we would drive by the airport in Holland, I would be in tears. There was just such this homesickness for being in an airplane, for going somewhere.
That's the $1 million question.
So much of my upbringing is here and there.
My origin is Armenian, but I was born in Saudi Arabia.
I was born in Saudi Arabia. I'm Chinese. I carry a Canadian passport.
I was born in Pakistan, and at the age of 3, we made our first move. My family moved to Australia, and we moved to Jakarta, Indonesia, China, Shanghai, Boston for 7 years. I moved to Canada.
Argentina, Jamaica, Philippines.
I've lived in many cities around the world.
Growing up, moving around all over the world, I think my earliest memories are of panic and feeling lost.
I became incredibly restless by the time I was 14. I needed new change, new challenge, because that had been so much a part of my upbringing, I guess.
When you move around a lot, you're not just losing connection to a place, of course, you're also losing connection to the people in that place.
I bounce around like about every 4 or 5 years. That's when I bounce.
One day I want to be in Johannesburg, one day I want to be in Berlin.
It doesn't matter how many friends you have. If you don't have a sense of belonging with them, you will be depressed.
But I didn't really get to be a kid, exactly. I had my own hotel room in Kuwait. I had my own TV. I had my own telephone in the bathroom. I didn't do anything with it because I didn't really have friends who would call me.
I was a child who was alone much of the time, or not really out playing with the other kids. When I moved to Indonesia, the same thing. I escaped to my books. I would read all the time. When I moved to the United States, again, I had the same experience. I withdrew from the college experience by and large. I think I was probably depressed for the entire 4 years of college because I just didn't really feel like I fit in or anybody understood me.
When we are experiencing grief on our own and there's no mirroring of that grief in others around us, we feel very alone with that experience and there's no way to work it through.
Pieces were missing and I needed to understand who I was, where I came from.
Where do I fit in? Where am I from? Why does everybody else know where they're from and I don't know where I'm from?
All the ups and downs, the moving and the multiple attachments, having all that a part of me really seeks stability.
I didn't have any friends. I was very shy. No one wanted to be my friend.
I would go to a new place and I would feel lost for so long.
I'm perfectly fine just, being unique in that aspect, just, sort of an outsider in the culture.
When you're in the majority, everyone is like, you're the same as us, you're supposed to be like this, what's wrong with you, why aren't you like us?
But even when I moved to Canada 2 years ago, I've had experiences where I felt completely lost and actually devastated as a result of social faux pas and little mistakes that I made in understanding the way people relate to each other in society.
I've tried so hard to fit in. I really tried. I've done everything I possibly can. I've tried to learn this language, tried to be, it's not working.
So when we cannot connect to a place, we cannot work through some of these questions of who we are.
I discovered that I was a third culture kid by making a Google search, and I discovered that there were more people just like me.
I heard about the Third Culture Kid book from a friend of mine. Growing up as a third culture kid, I really see the humanity of people. I really see that people are human beings no matter where they're from.
When you're stuck in a monocultural environment, you believe that your sense of belonging is within that group. But when you have a mobile childhood, you quickly realize that you can have a sense of belonging in different groups, regardless of where you are, when you find a sense of commonality with these people.
First of all, it was completely normal to be TCK, and it was like completely normal not to be what everyone expects you to be.
And I was reading this on Google and realizing that there are people who don't feel like they belong, they don't fit in anywhere, they're restless, they keep moving all the time. And I read that and I thought, that's me. TCK is a not-profit community to help third culture kids and cross-cultural people meet others like themselves and find a sense of belonging.
Home is everywhere in the world.
The old definitions of belonging and identity is completely outdated.
I'd never get homesick, mainly because I don't actually have a home to get homesick to.
For once, I wanted to have a sense that I belonged.
Why does home have to be one place?
Then when you move to a new place, you carry that loss with you, and it becomes very difficult to engage in your new home.
You know, we always say home sweet home, but I could say that anywhere.
For someone who is still also making sense of the rules of culture around them, to have that culture that they may just be beginning to grasp taken away from them, that rocks their world.
I was rebelling against a whole bunch of the stereotypes that I'd seen. I was rebelling against what I'd seen between men and women in Puerto Rico, what I'd seen between men and women in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, what I'd seen between my parents.
I tend to hurry into friendships because there's always a sense that nothing's going to last forever.
I had to relearn how to make friends because we'd always learned that either we go or they go. And nobody lives there longer than a year or 2 years. And the first person that I found was nice to me, I clamped onto her like a terrier. And that was now my new best friend forever. And she was terrified of that, ran away really hard, at which point I had to realize that, okay, friends are made gradually.
So often in the 20s and 30s, it becomes really difficult to find ways to settle down, to make commitments to school or career, and to make commitments even in friendships and relationships can be a real challenge.
I spent 7 years in Boston. I made the conscious decision to stay there because I wanted to be in one place. And then I finally moved to Canada because my family came here. And this is where I am now, so that's 7 countries. And I really don't know what the future holds because as a third culture kid, the possibility is always open that I could go anywhere in the world and make a home there for myself.
I think if we all as TCKs use our challenges and turn them into gifts so we can help others and give them a sense of belonging and create a safe, loving environment for them and in our life, in our family, and everybody else around us. This is how we can make a difference.
And something tells me I will settle down. You know, it's nothing impossible either, but I just have to find what's right for me and who's right for me and where is right for me.
I fly like paper, get high.